cruel. And the United Nations report tells us what we've known. According to a Center for Economic and Policy Research, just in 2018, 40,000 Venezuelans died because of the U.S. embargo. It's a unilateral embargo. Even if it had the camouflage of multilateral institutions like the UN, this is incredibly illegal and inhumane. And at the height of a pandemic, we're here in the U.S. Yesterday, 3,900 of us Americans died, truly telling that whether it's whoever's in the Oval Office, Tweedledee or Tweedledum, their priority is to continue to suffocate the Zimbabwe's, the Cubas, the Venezuelas, the Nicaraguas. So they'll stop at nothing for what they call regime change, which is a clever euphemism for recolonization. And I'm in everyday touch with Venezuelan colleagues and friends. Right now, the Bolivar is at 2 million bolivares for $1. So this hyperinflation and this devaluation of the currency, this plays right into the U.S. ruling class and their plan. Their strategy is a battle of ideas to make socialism in Venezuela and any country who defies their paradigm look very, very bad. So the U.S. knows exactly what they're doing with this blockade.
Right, and it's funny, Danny, because we always hear figures in Washington saying, "Hey, we have an issue with the government in Tehran, not the Iranian people. We have an issue with the government in Caracas, not the Venezuelan people." I mean, they're always saying power to the people in Cuba and Iran and Venezuela and North Korea, wherever they got countries under heavy sanctions. My question to you, but we know that especially throughout the pandemic, especially when it comes to medicine and medical supplies and humanitarian aid, we know these things go straightly to the people. So why is it that they're targeting, when they say they care about the people and not the power?
Yeah, in the battle of ideas, they want to make Venezuela and any other socialist formation, a socialist experiment, look like it's completely devoid of any support. That it's a complete failure. That, just like they said in 1991, that it's the end of history and there's only one way forward, and that's capitalism and unfettered neoliberalism and the free market. And what is the free market but the right of free foxes to run free among free chickens, and who ends up getting consumed? So they'll stop at nothing, trying to overthrow, whether it's the Chinese Communist Party or the PSUV in Venezuela, or the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, or the leadership of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Objectively, any country that gets in their way, any leadership that gets in their way, then there's a media war. And the media paves the war for this economic war, which could lead to a military war. A lot of us here in the U.S. don't realize that what this blockade means is that if another country tries to send any help or do any type of economic agreement with Venezuela, they can be blocked, they can be punished, they can be sanctioned. Right now, Alex Saab, a representative of the Venezuelan government, or at least a business partner, has been in jail in Cape Verde. I mean, what does Cape Verde have to do with this blockade? Iranian tankers with much-needed oil have been intercepted in the Caribbean Sea. So it's really clear before the world, and it's good that the United Nations has validated what we already knew, that the United States government is a bully. It does not speak in our name. These sanctions are genocidal, and they know this. They've laid this out since 1960 when they started their embargo against Cuba. They understand all too well that these economic and military blockades stoke the flames of dissent, of inner chaos, of a dog-eat-dog world, because the Venezuelan people need to eat. They need money. They need gasoline to see family, to get on public transportation. And they don't have these things. They don't have internet. They don't have social media. The situation is very, very dire. And that's how CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and the New York Times can cash in in trying to make Venezuela look very bad without recognizing the damage that the sanctions do and casting all the blame on the Venezuelan leadership.
Thanks, bud. Stay safe till we see you again. Out of New York, Mr. Danny Shaw, there, professor of Latin American and Caribbean Studies.